Welcome to Deep Well Reflections. This episode is entitled, Always Pick Up the Phone. So I've been thinking a lot about my dad recently, specifically the last conversation we had before he died. I'll never forget it for as long as I live. It was such a powerful experience, such a life lesson. The story goes like this. I walked into the kitchen one day and stopped short of the telephone. I stared at it momentarily, thinking I should call my father, as it's been a while since we last spoke. After some debate, I gave in to my guilt and dialed his number. He answered and we engaged in some idle chit-chat before things got, for lack of a better word, strange. He began to break down over the phone, telling me how much he misses us, the grandkids, and how much he loves us. I found it strange because, you see, I only witnessed my dad cry once in my life, and that was at my grandmother's funeral many years ago. So my knee-jerk response was a tad lighthearted. I was like, "You okay, man? You're not acting quite right." He pulled himself together and we shared a bit of a laugh. He just reaffirmed how much he misses us and wanted so badly to see the kids again. Without thinking too much of it, I told him we'd plan a trip over during the summer for a little visit. You see, he lived in Nova Scotia at the time, and I lived in Prince Edward Island. And suddenly he became so ecstatic, like beyond normal. He reacted as though he won the lottery or something. He was so excited. He said, "Like, you promise you will?" He asked. Feeling even more confused, I promised him. I said, "Yes, we'll go over, like, relax, you know." When we hung up the phone, I scratched my head, literally scratched my head, because this was so uncharacteristic of my father. But anyway, I played it off. Just an odd day for the old man, I thought. And I went about my business. I think it was 2 or 3 days later, I got a call from my mother after work, and she informed me that Dad had passed away from a heart attack earlier in the day. I fell into a state of shock when I heard the news. And when I hung up, I sat down at the kitchen table, and I never took my eyes off the phone. The conversation my dad and I had just a couple days earlier began to play in my mind. That emotional awkwardness that I felt. And I realized that he knew. He knew he didn't have much time left. And it all began to make sense to me. If I had only known, I would have packed the kids up that night and drove the 3.5 hours to go see him, to give him his final wish. But I didn't know. The most disturbing thought I had in my moment of shock was reflecting on the time I took to contemplate whether to pick up the phone and call him. I almost didn't, because I was too busy. Life is busy. Not to suggest a divine intervention experience, but something did draw me to pick up that phone. Something pushed me to pick up that phone. It was uncharacteristic of me to call home so early in the evening, especially when tasked with having to prepare supper and tending to the kids and so on. But I did. I picked up the phone. And to this day, I'm so thankful that I did. You see, my dad died one day before my birthday. And I snickered at myself thinking, in all of that awkwardness, the tears, the strangeness of it all, he forgot to wish me happy birthday before leaving us. I guess the underlying message in this is that don't hesitate to pick up the phone when you feel you should call a loved one, because you just never know. And I'll go a step further. If you have a strained relationship with a family member, I really hope this inspires you to reach out and try to bury the hatchet, so to speak. because you just never know, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it to miss out on an opportunity to reconcile. It may be a little uncomfortable at first, but it would feel so much better than living a lifetime of regret, always thinking, I should have called. I should have swallowed my pride and I should have called. For me, I got lucky. And I hate to think how I'd feel had I ignored that signal that I seemingly felt and walked away from the phone that day. But I did call. And I am so happy that I did.